Sometimes some sometimes some magicians. And these magicians, they can do some jadoo, and by their jadoo, they can create some magical feats. So don't think that this new knowledge is my current spurti, and I'm giving this knowledge to you. This is a very traditional knowledge, very traditional, time-based, time-tested knowledge. So the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is a traditional, it is Purana, it is time-tested knowledge, and which has worked for many people in the past, and it will continue to work because this is knowledge which is given by Lord. So this knowledge will continue to work for all the future people in the world. So we know that everyone has the biggest struggle in his life. The biggest struggle which every living entity undergoes in his life is his fight and struggle or his challenges with the lust. So Krishna is telling Arjuna here that, oh, you need a knowledge for this. You need a fulfillment in your life for this. A lust is a expression of unfulfilled life. Why lust manifests? Because a person is unfulfilled in his life. He is not getting internal satisfaction in his life. And when one is not internally satisfied, is internally not blissful, then because Jiva has a natural tendency to look for happiness, and Jiva has a natural tendency to look for a joy. But when his desires are unfulfilled, when his desires are unsatisfied, that time he looks for those same happiness and he tries to look fulfillment in the material commodities. That is called as lust. So, lust is nothing but love in a perverted fashion. There is a need of a fulfillment for every jiva, and when this fulfillment is not attained by his activities, then this manifests in a wrong way. That is called as lust, because it is an unfulfilled heart. It is an empty heart. It is an expression of heart is empty. So now Krishna is telling Arjuna that no, for this you need to engage in work. Arjuna is saying, okay, I will run away from work. No, there is a need of fulfillment for everyone. All of us, we need certain fulfillment in our life. We need satisfaction in our life. But when this is not done, then it will wrongly manifest as lust. So, in the fourth chapter of Gita, Krishna is telling about this chapter is named as this chapter is named by different devotees in a different manner. So fifth chapter is called as Karma Sannyasa Yoga, and the third chapter is called as Karma Yoga, and there is a Jnana Yoga, little bit the importance of Jnana. So the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita is also called as Karma Jnana Sannyasa Yoga, or Prabhupada translate this as transcendental knowledge. But some other acharyas also write Karma Jnana Sannyasa Yoga. That is what is this chapter is named as. So in the very beginning, we discussed about how this knowledge is a very traditional knowledge. This knowledge was received through the chain of Guru Parampara system, and it was given to saintly kings. Now, here, if you see, the discussion comes about saintly kings. The kings who are in the saintly order or called as Raja Rishi. So, actually, Bhagavad Gita and this knowledge is meant for very qualified people. Sometimes we say, no, that this Bhagavad Gita knowledge is very intellectual knowledge and this is very high. Actually, this knowledge is called as Raja Vidya. Raja Vidya means this knowledge is supposed to be given to Raja only, or a people those who are like saintly kings. For them, this knowledge is meant, and that is true. And that is the reason we generally encourage to preach to Shreshtas. Why Shreshtas? Nowadays, there is no one Shrestha. There is very saintly kings are very rarely there. But this knowledge actually was meant for a saintly order. And that's why Krishna mentions this knowledge was given to those people who are kingly order and saintly order. And they will propagate the culture, they will propagate the teachings for the time to come. But initially, this knowledge was given like that. If you see the history, let's look at the history about Buddhism. How, okay, this is a brainstorm quiz time for you. What was the name of a king who accepted Buddhism and then Buddhism started spreading like anything in the world? Okay, fastest finger first. Kaushik.
Ashoka.
Ashoka. So you see, actually Buddhism was very unheard religion. It was the unheard religion that time. But when Ashoka took it, Ashoka got convinced. Then he spread it in Sri Lanka and all the different countries, and he even made his
एक करता ना
into
शायद
Buddhist
माफ
devotees.
करता हूँ पढ़ लो राजा
Someone can be muted. I don't know whose noise is coming. Okay. So then his son became the emperor and he spread Buddhism. His wife became. So you see, when the saintly people take to Krishna consciousness or the kingly people take to the spirituality, it spreads like anything. Now, if you see Christianity also, Christianity was a very persecuted religion. It was a banned religion. It was a Roman Empire banned Christianity. But somehow, when the Roman king got convinced that, oh, Christianity is a bona fide, Christianity is very genuine, is a good religion, then you see Christianity spread it like anything. Similarly, now also we see how when Prataprudra Maharaj, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Prataprudra Maharaj accepted Krishna consciousness, you see the entire Orissa, Bengal is flooded with Krishna consciousness. So, this knowledge is called as Raja Vidya, and this knowledge is to be given to the saintly kings. So, but in the due course of time, government changes, or we keep on losing the political power, and the saintly people, those who are kings, they are lost. And that's why Krishna says, again, I have come to instruct you to find out a suitable candidate. And when this knowledge is given to suitable candidate, then the Krishna consciousness spreads like anything. Then Arjuna gets a natural question. Krishna, you said that you spoke this knowledge to Vivashwan, who is millions and millions of years of old. How did you speak to him? Arey, we took birth in the same family. We are like friends. We played together. But how I should believe that you give this knowledge? And then Krishna mentions, Arjuna, don't think that I am. All of us have taken many births before. All of us have taken hundreds and millions of births. I can remember every birth of mine. That is why, because my personality is not an ordinary personality. I don't have material form. My janma, karma, chame, divyam, everything is divyam. But uh, every conditioned soul has a tendency to be forgetful. He will keep on forgetting everything. Then Krishna says that my body is never deteriorating. The living entity's body is perishable. It is there today, it is gone tomorrow. It is going to decay, birth, old age, disease, and death. So, conditioned soul goes through all the six phases. But my body is a transcendental body, and I have a transcendental form. Then Krishna mentions about why does he appear? Okay, if he takes avatar, why does he take avatar? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata. Then okay, where do I take avatar? I need a suitable mother, father. And what is my prime purpose of coming? My prime purpose of coming is not to kill a demon. It is paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samstarpanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So every millennium I come. For what purpose? To give paritranaya sadhunam. That is the prime purpose for which I come. Now, somebody may say, okay, nice, you spoke all this knowledge about me. So, Krishna says in the ninth shloka, anyone who understands my transcendental activities, name, fame, form, pastimes, he will never have to take birth in this material world. So, Prabhu, last time we covered till which shloka? 12th shloka or which one? I think 11th was also done. And which all shlokas were done?
12th,
Project 12th,
13?
12th.
12th.
12th was done. Okay. So Krishna then mentions that one who knows my birth, my pastimes, my activities will never take birth in the material world again. And that is the benefit of reading Krishna conscious literature. So when we are discussing on Bhagavad Gita, we're trying to understand Krishna's birth and appearance. So anyone who sincerely pays attention to this message, Krishna's guarantee is that he will never take birth in this material world. So now he also mentioned that okay, not only that, what is the benefit? It is not that you only not will take birth and death, you will also develop love for me. So the process to develop love for Krishna was spoken in the verse number 10 that you take shelter of me. Anyone who has taken shelter of this knowledge in the past has developed love for me. So all of us, if you want to develop love for Krishna, you have to take shelter of this knowledge. Now, getting information and getting shelter is a two different thing. Can you give me some examples? Okay, let's have a little brainstorm before we start. What does it mean to take shelter of Bhagavad Gita? Okay, I'm not just asking here read from Bhagavad Gita and all this. What does it mean to take shelter of Bhagavad Gita? All devotees, you can unmute and speak. What does it mean? Okay, to see the world through the eyes of Bhagavad Gita, applying the lesson in the daily life. Okay, very good. Akshay Prabhu is also saying the same way. Taking decisions in life according to Gita. Thank you, Darshan Prabhu. Akshay Prabhu is saying, following it. Follow Bhagavad Gita. That is called a shelter. Living by that knowledge. Vivek Prabhu is writing. Okay, anything else? Shelter. Shelter मतलब हम जैसे कि बारिश होती है ना, बारिश होती है तो हम किसका शेल्टर लेते हैं? अम्ब्रेला का शेल्टर लेते हैं, या किसी शेड का शेल्टर लेते हैं। भूख लगती है तो हम खाने का शेल्टर लेते हैं। ठंडी लगती है तो हम ब्लैंकेट का शेल्टर लेते हैं। शेल्टर मतलब उसमें हम प्रोटेक्टेड फील करते हैं। Similarly, what does it mean? Yes, always depending upon Krishna. Thank you, Naresh Prabhu. That is, take shelter. And most important thing is accept devotional service. That is called as taking shelter of Krishna. One should take to Krishna consciousness. One should follow devotional service. That is called as taking shelter of Krishna. So by taking shelter of Bhagavad Gita like this, one will develop love for Godhead. That is the verse Falashruti which is given, the verse number 10. Now, suddenly the discussion jumps. Now, suddenly the discussion jumps in the 11th verse. Krishna is telling, actually, everyone is taking my shelter only. He's telling, okay, how? Some people take shelter with a pure motive, and some people take shelter with an impure motive. But everyone takes my shelter only. There is no one in the world who doesn't take my shelter. Now, somebody may say, but what about the atheistic people? There are some atheistic people, like they want to even destroy the god. Like some people come and they break the idols of the god, they break the deities of the god. But how is it that God got destroyed by them? Like Malichs has come, Yavanas come, and they destroyed the many deities and many temples. But how they are taking your shelter? They are killing you. They are trying to destroy you. Then Krishna says, no, they are also taking my shelter only, everywhere in this world. Why? Because they want to see me like a doll, because they want to see me like a stone. I give them that understanding that this is stone. But those devotees who want to see me like a Rajendra Nandan, what is that? Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Rajendra Nandan. It's not that I am only a deity. I am a lord. I am a personal form. So he said, I reciprocate with them accordingly. So that's why he in the 11th verse he spoke, Ye yadhamam prapadyante tam stathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartamana tu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. So Krishna says, I reciprocate based on how you approach me. That was in the 11th verse. Like we find in the pastime of Sakshi Gopal. The Brahmana, Madhava Brahmana, he approached deity with a full faith and full conviction that this is not a lord, this is not a deity, only stone, this is Lord. Or so we know so many examples of Kanchi Purna, and so deities reciprocate. If we approach with a faith that this is not a stone only, this is personal form of Lord, directly manifesting in the Archa Vigraha form. So he says in the 11th verse it is said, based on your surrender, I take I reward accordingly. I remember once upon a time in Siaghad College, the devotees were preaching, and that time our His Grace Acharya Ratna Prabhu was there. He was also a very senior leader in the terms of preaching. And when devotees entered into hostel, entered inside the hostel and they got caught up by the guards, security guards. This is very long ago, 2002 or 2001, something like that. They got caught by security guard, and security guard they got caught up, and it was a little strugglesome situation. And everyone started little confused. Oh, not now, what to do, what not to do. We got caught up, and now preaching will stop, and how things will go ahead and all. So every devotee said, okay, we have to try something different, something different. And when Acharyatna Prabhu was asked, Prabhu, now what to do? Because he was one of the leaders. He said, actually, what happened? That day, all the mentors entered the hostel not chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They entered before chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They did not do their complete morning program and they entered. And then he said, okay, tomorrow onwards, what we'll do, we'll enter the hostel, still enter the hostel, but we'll complete the morning program and then enter the hostel. Somebody, all devotees got shocked. What is connection of morning program and getting caught in hostel? He said, no, because we did not take shelter of Krishna. That's why we got caught. Let's take shelter of Krishna, complete the morning program, and then enter the hostel. And now I was people were surprised. अरे ऐसे क्या होने वाला है? ये थोड़ी कोई solution है. And amazingly, devotees chanted Hare Krishna. Next day only they got caught up. The next day only they completed morning program again went. And Krishna's grace, things went ahead nicely. Nothing happened. I was surprised. क्या फेथ है व्यक्ति का? So based on surrender, this is just an example, side example, how one's level of faith and one's level of surrender is there. Lord reciprocates accordingly. So, in the 12th verse now, okay, let's come to the verse number 13. Hare Krishna. Verse number 13. चातुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्म विभागश तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विधिय कर्तारमव्ययम्. Yes, bro, someone can read.
According to three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer being unchangeable.
Purport.
Purport. The Lord is the creator of everything. Everything is born of him. Everything is sustained by him. And everything after annihilation rests in him. He is therefore the creator of four divisions of the social order, beginning with the intelligent class of men, technically called Brahmanas, due to their being situated in the mode of goodness. Next is the administrator class, technically called as Kshatriyas, due to their being situated in mode of passion. The mercantile men, called the Vaishyas, are situated in the mixed mode of passion and ignorance, and the Shudra or labor class are situated in the ignorant mode of material nature. In spite of its creating the four divisions of human society, Lord Krishna does not belong to any of these divisions because he is not one to be one of the conditioned souls, a section of whom form human society. Human society is similar to any other animal society, but to elevate men from the animal status, the above mentioned divisions are created by the Lord for the systematic development of Krishna consciousness. The tendency of a particular man toward work is determined by the modes of material nature which he has acquired, which he has acquired. Such symptoms of life, according to different modes of material nature, are described in the 18th chapter of this book. A person in Krishna consciousness, however, is above even the Brahmanas. Although Brahmanas by the quality are supposed to know about the Brahman, the supreme absolute truth, most of them approach only the impersonal Brahman manifestation of Lord Krishna. But a man who transcends the limited knowledge of Brahman and reaches the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna becomes a person in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, a Vaishnav. Krishna consciousness includes knowledge of all different plenary expansion of Krishna, namely Ram, Narsimha, Vara, etc. And as Krishna is transcendental to this system of the four divisions of human society, a person in Krishna consciousness is also transcendental to all the divisions of human society, whether we consider division of community, nation, or species.
Yes, bro. So the 13th verse is that speaks mainly about one thing. That what is Varnashram system? So the verse has 13 verse states Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So according to the three modes of nature, the four divisions of human society are created by Krishna. And Krishna says, I created the system, but don't think that I am in this system. I am above Varnashram. So now what is Varnashram system? It is said Varnashram system, the main purpose of Varnashram system is to elevate everyone from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. That is the main purpose of Varnashram system. That is to elevate everyone from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness. And although the Varnashram system is created by Krishna, it is he only who plays like It is not he who has placed the jivas within that system. So it is not that ki I was placed as Brahmana and I was placed as Shudra, like that. Krishna says in the 11th verse, Ye yathama prapadite. We chose to be Brahmana. It is we who chose to be Shudra. It is based on our desires. It is we only chose. Krishna is impartial. That, oh, why you put me in Brahmana body? Why you put me in Shudra body? Why you only give me Vaishya body? No. It is like based on our desire, based on our super soul reciprocates with our desires, and yet he remains the non-doer. It is he does not directly reward anyone with the fruits of work. That is what is being mentioned here. So, okay, I'll just show you the Vishwanath Yogi Thakur's commentary. 1 minute. Someone can read this? Please can read this, bro.
Logically, if I were to award you the fruits of your work, I must be transformed, at least on some level. Because I have reacted to what you have done, Krishna directly says that he is the non-doer and unchangeable. To show that he, the absolute is aloof. Although he is the creator of Varnashrama system, he awards neither results nor reactions. Thus, he is neither contaminated nor transformed. This is inconceivable. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the supreme controller, and the cause of all causes. Yet, he will not accept responsibility for everything that happens to the jivas. We each must take responsibility for what happens to us, even though everything ultimately depends on Krishna. Krishna only sanctions against his own desires, our waywards, and rebellious activities and their subsequent results. Causes. Nothing happens without his sanction. Yet, for our rectification, he allows us to act as we like. In the meantime, he awaits the time we will return to him and offer him loving service. Material nature awards to those who do not turn to him the pious and impious fruits of their activities. In this verse, Krishna explains that he is Akarta, the non-doer. Krishna has previously explained Prakrite Kriyamanani Guna Karmani Sarvaja Ankar Vibhudatma Kartaham Manya. The spirit soul, bewildered by influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Our thinking of ourselves as the cause of the result of our activities, Krishna said, indicates that we are bewildered. Krishna tells us Krishna tells us not only that we are not the doer, but that he is not the doer either. Who then is doing everything? Krishna sometimes takes one side of the issue and sometimes the other. At times, he wants to emphasize our position as tiny souls who should not falsely proud of our prowess, prowess or think ourselves rightfully attached to the fruits of our activities. At such time, he emphasizes that we are not the doer, that we do not cause the fruits of our activities, and that the results of our activities are awarded to us by Mother Nature. At other times, he emphasizes our culpability. He then wants us to take full responsibility for our actions and their reactions. Thus, at those times, Krishna traces himself also as the non-doer. Krishna, the material nature and the living entities are all doers. The living entity desires to act. Krishna as the super soul and sanctions it. The material nature facilitates the activity. Yet, weight of responsibility for action rests solely upon the living entity. Although living entity has no independent power to act, he initiates the action by his desires. While both the super soul and material nature, being neutral, facilitates their fulfillment. In the next verse, Krishna will further explain how he is non-doer or how he acts but does not act, and the value of thoroughly understanding these subtle truths.
ये श्लोका में पूरा चेन बताया है प्रभु कि कैसे काम होता है, कैसे डूअर और नॉन डूअर। पहले श्लोक में बताया था कि हम कुछ काम करते ही नहीं, अल्टीमेटली मोड्स ही काम करते हैं। तो फिर अभी इसमें बोल रहे हैं कि देखो भाई, तुम ही लोग काम करते हो। ऐसा मत सोचो कि मोड्स काम करते हैं और मैं काम करता हूँ। तो ऐसा मत सोचना कि मैंने किसी को शूद्र बनाया, तुमने ही बनाया। तो इसलिए लोगों को कंफ्यूजन होता है कि कौन है, क्या फंडा क्या है। हम काम करते हैं, मोड्स काम करते हैं, भगवान काम करता है, परमात्मा काम करता है, मटेरियल नेचर काम करता है। तो ये समझता नहीं है बहुत बार। यहाँ पे इसलिए श्लोक में विष्णु जी ठाकुर क्लियरली कहते हैं कि एक्चुअली हम ही हमारे सिचुएशन की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेना चाहिए। द वेट ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लाइज ऑन द लिविंग एंटिटी। वॉट एवर सिचुएशन लिविंग एंटिटी इज इन टूडे, it is because of his own actions in the past, and it is the responsibility of him only. We should not blame, क्या करे भगवान ने मुझे ऐसा शरीर दिया है। नहीं, हम नहीं चूज किया है। हमारे कर्तृत्व के कारण ही हमने वो शरीर प्राप्त किया है। भगवान न्यूट्रल रहते हैं। भगवान मटेरियल नेचर न्यूट्रल रहता है। वो ऐसा नहीं कि उनको कुछ ये है करके भेदभाव करना है, इसको ज़्यादा प्रसाद दिया, इसको कम प्रसाद दिया, नहीं। बेस्ड ऑन योर कैपेसिटी एंड बेस्ड ऑन योर डिजायर्स, you have received the quota. Don't we should not think, we should not blame the Lord. Yo, I was placed. That's why this shloka again, as it mentions, chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. So these four systems are not created by me. Means it is said, they are created by me, but I am the creator of the system. But you should know that I don't place the jivas in the system, the jiva themselves get placed. And I am above the system. Don't think that I am also in this, I am also one of the member of this four varanas and four ashramas, like that. I am creator of the system, but I am above the system. So, and so basically, to facilitate the desires of Jiva, these four systems of Varnas and Ashramas were created. That is what being spoken here. Now, 14th verse. The 14th verse will directly speak that don't think that I am affected by the systems of four Varnas and Ashramas. Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phala spriha, iti mam yo bhijanati, कर्म भीर न सबध्यते।
Translation: There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Purport: As there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong, or that the king is not subject to the state laws. Similarly, the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because of their propensity for lording it over material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world, and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desires the low grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation that appear on the earth. Although without such rains, there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows: Nimitta matram evasho श्रियाणाम सर्गकर्मणि प्रधान कारणीभूत yato vaishrija saktaya. In the material creation, the Lord is only the supreme cause. The immediate cause is material nature by which the cosmic manifestation is made visible. The created beings are of many varieties, such as the demigods, human beings, and lower animals, and all of them are subject to the reactions of their past good or bad activities. The Lord only gives them the proper facilities for such activities and the regulations of the modes of nature.
but he is never responsible for their past and present activities. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is confirmed Vaishamya Nairagrane na Shapekshatavat. The Lord is never partial to any living being entity. The living entity is responsible for his own acts. The Lord only gives him facilities through the agency of material nature, the external energy. Anyone who is fully conversant with all the intricacies of this law of karma or fruitive activities does not become affected by the results of his activities. In other words, the person who understands this transcendental nature of the Lord is an experienced man in Krishna consciousness, and thus he is never subjected to the laws of karma. One who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord and who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results are as are the activities of the ordinary living entities certainly becomes entangled himself in fruitive reaction. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul, fixed in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So namam karmani limpanti name karma phales priya. So he said anyone who understands. So before understanding Krishna's pastime, this shloka is very important to be understood. Why? Because people think that Krishna also engages in fruitive activities. Krishna is also, so that's why it is said the boss is never wrong or king is never wrong. He is above the system. So Krishna, like when we hear the pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam of Balram killing Romaharshan Sutta, we may think Balram ji became angry and he killed Romaharshan Sutta. So really, what karma he will get for that? So you have to understand there is a no work that affects Krishna, and it is Krishna's whatever activities Krishna and Lord Supreme Lord does, they are beyond this. So now we see there are conditioned souls, and conditioned souls they have desires, and they have desires for pleasure, and conditioned souls they try to act based on those desires. So their attempts cause the modes of material nature to react because they have a desire. Material modes of nature will react, and which will result in some sort of activity, and then it will lead to reaction. So Krishna's own actions are little different. Krishna's own actions are not like that. Krishna engages in many activities, but while acting, he is materially aloof and materially desireless. Krishna is aloof from all the material activities and he is materially desireless because all the activities which Krishna performs are based on internal energy. They are not based on external energy. And he is free from the modes of material nature. So that's why Krishna is telling here, whatever work I perform, I am materially desireless. And whatever work I do, I don't get reaction for them. Neither I get attached to work. So this is that. So that's why in the next verse it will come when Jiva understands this fact about Krishna. This fact has to be understood about Krishna. That Krishna's whatever activities Krishna performs, they are beyond the purview of karma and karma limpanti and fruitive activities. Such a person who understands this fact very nicely, he will become servant of Krishna. He will develop love for Krishna. And he will go away from the cycle of action and reaction and he will transcend the material world and he will go back home back to Godhead. That's why this karmano gahana gati, it is said the laws of karma, they apply to the material conditioned soul. But the laws of karma, the laws of action, reaction, they do not touch a liberated devotee. And they even do not touch the body of Krishna. So the 15th verse, the 14th verse spoke about Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam, 13th verse, and 14th verse is speaking about I am not affected by this Varnashrama system. I am above this, and there is no karma and reaction for me. I am above all this. But still, although I am not affected by all this thing, I engage in work. Because ultimate purpose of you see the Gita, Krishna wants Arjuna to do work. Don't renounce. And Krishna will speak now. Anyone who has understood this in the past, he has got liberated. So okay, 15th verse. एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वे पूर्वतरं कृतम्. Yes, bro. 15th verse. Please read.
All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with the understanding of my mortal nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps.
So this is a very
Purport.
beautiful purport. Please read this purport and you can try to underline. So this is a very, very nice purport. Yeah.
There are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. Those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for a gradual cleansing process, following the regulative principles of devotional service. Those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. Foolish persons or neophytes in Krishna consciousness often want to retire from the activities without having knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof, making a show of Krishna consciousness is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. Arjuna is here advised to act in Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivaswan, as mentioned herein before. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities as well as those of persons who act in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the act of the sun god who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All the students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Krishna.
Yeah. So this is a very important purport for all the devotees. So here it is said one should not plan for retirement from Krishna consciousness. I remember there are certain times when devotee feels प्रभु थोड़ा भी रिटायरमेंट लेना है, बहुत हो गया अब सेवा प्रभु जी, वॉइस में बहुत हो गया सेवा, प्रचार करके थक गया, अभी बहुत हो गया, थोड़ा रिटायरमेंट लेना है. रिटायरमेंट क्या लेना है? सो प्रभुपाद को एक बार पूछा गया, प्रभुपाद अभी आप ओल्ड हो गए हो. कब कुछ डिवोटीज को, प्रभुपाद के डिवोटी डिसाइपल्स को ऐसा टेंडेंसी आ गया था, प्रभुपाद अभी हम बूढ़े हो गए हैं. उनका एज हुआ था 35-40 हुआ था, बहुत बस हो गया, अभी बहुत हो गया, इनफ ऑफ प्रचार हो गया, अभी अभी थोड़ा सा भजन करना चाहिए, चैंट करना चाहिए. प्रभुपाद बोले 80 में मैं तो ओल्ड नहीं हुआ अभी तक, 80 years old. प्रभुपाद बोले आप ओल्ड नहीं हुए, हम कब ओल्ड होंगे फिर? सो हियर वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट वन शुड नॉट प्लान फॉर रिटायरमेंट. लाइक मटेरियल वर्क में रिटायरमेंट होता है, राइट? जैसे जॉब में जाते हैं, कंपनी में रिटायरमेंट लेते हैं लोग. लेकिन कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में इस प्रकार का रिटायरमेंट नहीं होता है कि चलो भाई प्रभु बहुत हो गया, इनफ नाउ. सो प्रभुपाद यहाँ पे शुरुआत कर रहे हैं, देयर आर टू काइंड्स ऑफ पीपल. ऐसे लोग जिनके हार्ट में बहुत गंदगी है और ऐसे लोग जिनका हार्ट प्योर है. तो चाहे हमारे हार्ट में बहुत गंदगी है या चाहे हमारे हार्ट एकदम प्योर है, लेकिन कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस दोनों को बेनिफिट करता है. सो इज सेड हाउ. सो जिसका हार्ट गंदा है उसके लिए कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस एक धुलाई का काम करता है, धोबी का काम करता है. प्रविष्ट कर्णरंध्रेण श्वानं भाव शरोरुहम धुनोति शमलम कृष्ण शलीलस्य यथा शरद. धुनोति समलम कृष्ण. तो धुनोति धो देता है, धोबी का काम करता है कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस. कैसे? पूरे मैल को, समलम कृष्णा धुनोति शमलम, ऐसे सारे मल को धो देता है कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस. लेकिन चलो कोई बोलता है प्रभु मेरे में मैल ही नहीं है कोई, मेरा मैल जो था वो थोड़ा कम हो गया है अभी, अब क्या? नहीं, तो ऐसे लोगों को भी रिटायरमेंट नहीं करना चाहिए, ऐसे लोगों को रिलिश देता है कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस. सो अर्जुना वांटेड टू रिटायर फ्रॉम एक्टिविटीज एंड कृष्णा डिड नॉट अप्रूव दैट. So he said to retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness is less important than actually engaging in activities for sake of Krishna. So there are certain devotees in the past, there have been many devotees in the past who, after reading all the literatures, after reading Acharya commentaries, after reading so many devotees and here, there, and they sometimes came to wrong conclusion. And then they decide, oh, let me go to Radha Kund, let me go to Sham Kund, let me go to Giriraj, Govardhan, and Vrindavan, and let me settle there, and let me chant 24 hours a day. So if you can do that, that's a very great activity. But they want to retire now. Enough of preaching, bro. कब तक preaching करेंगे? इस्कॉन वाले लोग preaching करवाते हैं, वन टाइम प्रोग्राम, ये सेमिनार, लाइक कभी कभी होता है एक्चुअल में। आई रिमेम्बर जब बड़े बड़े कैंप कंप्लीट करते हैं हम, स्फूर्ति उत्कर्ष, ऐसा लगता है वाह, खत्म हो गया प्रभु, सेवा खत्म, फिनिश फिनिश। अब ऐसा लिबरेटेड फील होता है, चलो एक बार का डन, प्रोजेक्ट डन। तो यू सी इट अपीयर्स लाइक दैट, एंड नाउ अब मैं ना आराम से मैं थोड़ा सा अब करूंगा। ओके, थोड़ा सा जब बड़ा एक्टिविटी कंप्लीट होता है तो यू फील लाइक दैट। बट नो, वी शुड नॉट फील प्लान फॉर रिटायरमेंट। हाँ, इनफ हो गया प्रोजी, मैंने बहुत प्रचार कर लिया अभी। नॉट लाइक दैट। सो रादर वन शुड एंगेज इन ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ एक्टिविटीज फॉर कृष्णा सेक, and this is more important than taking retirement, Krishna is telling here. So all the people in the past, they acted like that and they became liberated. So he said we should also be enthusiastic to perform the activities which are uh, prescribed by Krishna. So whatever activities are prescribed for us, said we should do our duty very, very enthusiastically rather than planning for retirement. Bus ho gaya Prabhu, now I'm just going to retire from Krishna consciousness. So don't plan for retirement. So this is what is being spoken. Now, the verse, the theme will enter into, he's just giving example. 16th verse. Okay, I'll explain what is 16th verse. And then after this verse, we'll open some time for discussion. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopi atra mohita tatte karma pravakshyami यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष से शुभात। कर्म क्या है, किम अकर्म क्या है, ये अगर, ये बहुत कंफ्यूजिंग है, जो समझ जाए उसका जीवन में मोक्ष आता है। कर्म अकर्म क्या है, ये समझना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, लेकिन लेट्स से। यस प्रभु।
Even I'm audible, please.
यस यस।
Even the intelligence are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you all shall be liberated from all misfortune. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Action in Krishna consciousness has to be executed in accord with the examples of previous bona fide devotees. This is recommended in the 15th verse. Why such action should not be independent will be explained in the next text to follow. To act in Krishna consciousness, one has to follow the leadership of authorized person who are in the line of disciplic succession, as explained in the beginning of this chapter. The system of Krishna consciousness was first the system of Krishna consciousness was first narrated to the sun god. Sun god explained to his son Manu. Manu explained to his son Ikshvaku, and the system is current and the system is current on this earth from that very remote time. Therefore, one has to follow in the footsteps of previous authorities in the line of disciplic succession. Otherwise, even the most intelligent men will be bewildered regarding the standards actions of Krishna consciousness. For this reason, the Lord decided to instruct Arjuna in Krishna consciousness directly. Because of the direct instruction of the Lord to Arjuna, anyone who follows in the footsteps of Arjuna is certainly not bewildered. It is said that one cannot ascertain the ways of religion simply by imperfect experimental knowledge. Actually, the principle of religion can only be laid down by the Lord Himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. No one can manufacture a religious principle by imperfect speculation. One must follow in the footsteps of great authorities like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Manu, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlad, Bhishma, Shukadev Goswami, Yamraj, Janaka, and Bali Maharaj. By mental speculation, one cannot ascertain what is religion or self-realization. Therefore, out of causeless mercy to his devotee, the Lord explained directly to Arjuna what action is and what inaction is. Only action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from the entanglement of material existence.
बार बार रूपा बता रहे हैं एक्शन एक्शन नॉट inaction. Action performed in Krishna consciousness can deliver a person from entanglement of material existence. So we should not run away from service. Sometimes there is a tendency, oh, I should just chant, I should just go sit and meditate. But no, action is important. See, chanting is also an action. There is nothing wrong in chanting, but action delivered. Do not run away from action. So here, this verse is mainly speaking about even many intelligent people, buddhiman, but moksha se. So what is the word which is mohita, are bewildered. Who are the kavaya? Kavaya means those who are kavis, those who are intelligent people. They are also mohita. वो लोग bewilder हो जाते हैं किसमें? कर्म क्या, अकर्म क्या, क्या कर्मा, क्या कर्मा. And he said, I am telling you now very clearly what is action. If you understand what is action, he said, then you will be liberated. So again, so last few verses are mainly speaking about, okay, if you understand this properly, you will get moksha or you will get liberated. So here it is said, how activities in Krishna consciousness should be performed. So he said, first, follow previous devotees. How devotees, what devotees have been doing. So we also should see, like take an example. Can you give some examples from ISKCON Vartaman Acharyas or those departed Vaishnavas that despite of their mature age, despite of their very old age also, they have not given up their chanting, they have not given up their basic services, they have not given up their management, they have not given attending meetings, they have not even given up paying obeisances and going to dham, attending classes. Can you give some examples of such devotees of Vartaman
गोपाल
Acharya?
कृष्ण गोस्वामी महाराज
Oh, Prabhu.
गोपाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी महाराज
हाँ, गोपाल परम पूज्य गोपाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी महाराज, जय पताका महाराज, राधा गोविंद महाराज, and many others, so many devotees in the. So we said Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Okay, let's consider Maharaj only because generally we take previous examples, right? So Maharaj is a current also and previous example also. Here it is a previous bona fide. So current also, but previous bona fide acharyas. So he said we should learn from them. Or Srila Prabhupada himself, Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Very good. So you see that they have not given up their activities despite of 80 age. They are attending the meetings, they are attending even GBC meetings, they are even discussions about managements are there. And I was thinking, अरे महाराज 70-80 साल के हो गए, अभी तो मैनेजमेंट में नहीं होना चाहिए. इतना कौन ये करेगा, इस इशू, इस टेम्पल का ये इशू, इधर का फाइनेंस का इशू. कोई बोलेगा अरे यार थोड़ा अभी तो बुढ़ापा आ गया है, अभी थोड़ा सा ये क्या फाइनेंस और इधर का ये, इसको ये पनिशमेंट देना, उसको ये पनिशमेंट देना. समटाइम्स ऐसा लगता है अरे भाई अभी तो बस जब करो, कृष्णा का स्मरण करो, वृंदावन का स्मरण करो, ये क्या. लेकिन see, our previous exam, previous duty, even Srila Prabhupada had not given up such activities. Why? Because these activities should not be seen different than Krishna consciousness. So I remember Parampuja Gopal Krishna Maharaj used to say one very important statement. He said, management is like a Vapu Seva of Srila Prabhupada. ISKCON is a body of Srila Prabhupada. Or ISKCON is an incarnation of Krishna also. ISKCON is body of Srila Prabhupada, sometimes it is said. So he said, by doing management, we are trying to serve Srila Prabhupada and we are trying to serve Krishna's body only. It is as good as deity worship. One should not see management as something different than deity worship. Because we are facilitating Krishna consciousness for other people. So if with this attitude management is done, then it is as good as Archan. It is as good as Archana or deity worship. Nothing different than deity worship. So Maharaj used to pay so much attention. Parampuja Gopal Krishna Maharaj paid so much attention. Yeah, kanan Swami Maharaj. Even till his last breath, he did not give up his chanting and all that. So we learn from that action. What is meaning of action? To understand what is action, first one should take examples of previous devotees. Now, one should follow the authorized people, those who in the past who have done. Like what the great devotees are doing at this particular time, how the great devotees behaved in this particular situation. We can reflect and then we can try to follow. Otherwise, generally we'll take a wrong action, we may take a wrong decision in our life. So, like sometimes I remember in that when I'm traveling in the trains, एंड ट्रेन्स में कोई थोड़ा अलग होता है जीवन. ट्रेन्स में जाते हैं तो सुबह सुबह मॉर्निंग में उठने का मन नहीं करता क्योंकि रात को नींद नहीं होती है प्रॉपरली एंड कोई देख नहीं रहा होता है. मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम में नहीं भी उठा तो कौन देखने वाला है, कोई महामंत्र पूछने नहीं वाला है, अपन फ्रीडम है, अपना ही फ्रीडम है. लेकिन आई रिमेंबर मॉर्निंग whenever this decision comes, okay, let me get up at 4:30 only directly, or let me, because train is a very different environment only, all of us have experience. But I remember, oh, what Radheshamru would have done in this situation, or what this devotee would have done in this situation. Oh, I want to follow in their footsteps. So what great devotees would have done in the same situation which I am facing right now. So if we remember them, we get a strength, we also get a strength, and we can also apply. So we should immediately remember the great devotees in the past. So in this shloka it is said, a karma and a karma is very difficult to be understood. Understand what is karma, what is right action. So it is only by the causeless mercy of great devotees one can understand what action is and what inaction is. So he said we have to take shelter of the great devotees like Mahajanas, 12 Mahajanas are there, or the current acharyas are there. So we should consult them. What is the right activity to be done in this situation? And that's why the guidance is very important in Krishna consciousness. Like whenever all of us will come across some situations in life where decision making will become very tough. So what is the art of decision making? Art of decision making is approach a Vaishnava. Approach a Vaishnava. And they will never give decision for yourself. They will give us the way to make decision. What ultimate decision to be is to be made by us only. But we have to learn what these great devotees would do. Like you see, even a child learns how to take decisions by their parents. Like whatever way the child does, like mother father they do like this, Diya he also does like that. Mother father after coming from outside, they wash their legs, they wash their hands. The child also simply copies. So he learns when to do, like what to do. Similarly in bhakti, what is to be done and what is not to be done, this is all learned by association. Like I remember in the Spurti camp, recent Spurti camp, some of the boys, uh, after nature's call, they got a nature call, suppose during class, and the nature call, they said, Prabhu, we have to go for nature call. Okay, as we said, okay, go here, nature call, and come back soon for lecture. That lecture is very important, Radhesham Bruce. He said, no, bro, but there is no bathroom available here. I said, why bathroom is required? Go and come and do the needful. He said, no, I heard that we have to take bath after nature's call. First year boy. I said, oh, who taught you this? This is important, but Radhesham Bruce class is very important right now, we told. He said, no, our mentor told him, mentor told. So he learned by from mentor only. Oh, after nature's call, I want to take bath. This is not, otherwise we are called as Muchi. बाप रे, मतलब मेंटर को बोला, मेंटर को पकड़ा, कब तुमने सिखाया क्या इसको मूची शोची, इतना जल्दी क्यों सिखाया, ये क्या मिस करेगा हमारा. So you see, many things which we learn are learned by the approaching a great devotee. We learn by approaching a Vaishnava. Similarly, to understand what is action and what is inaction, it is very difficult to understand. But we have to approach a great devotee. There was one particular situation of one of a very senior devotee in our ISKCON, Pune community, Garastha devotee. He was placed in a situation where his wife got pregnant, and the baby was there. But during the time of delivery, there were a lot of complications, and it was such a difficult time to ascertain what is to be done. Doctor told either mother will remain alive or the child will remain alive. Now it was such a tough time. What to be done? See, ultimately, no one will take decision. The husband has to take decision, and the wife has to take decision. Either wife or other child. Now that devotee is in confusion. If I kill, either I have to abort a child. It is abortion. It is abortion in one way. Either abort a child, then I will get a heavy karma. And if I don't abort a child, I will lose my wife only. Such a confusion thing. Then this devotee approached his spiritual master, and spiritual master told, "Do not worry." He said, "You do this nursing and nursing puja. Remember nursing there, and let the wife give the delivery." By Krishna's grace, both wife also got saved, and both they also got saved. And these are the experiences of recent devotees in ISKCON. All of you may know these devotees also. So it is and now certain times it was told about the child also. Now you may say, अरे किसी को बोला about the child, किसी को बोला ये, but the great devotees give decision. So because doctors are not ready to take decision, even mother father are confused about taking decision. They approached the Vaishnava, they took decision, and one has to be ready for the consequences. So one has to understand what is karma, what is not karma by approaching great devotees. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to understand. Hmm? Okay, last verse. This is the only. We'll end with this. This is to explain again the same thing. What is action? What is an action? What is, how the laws of karma work? They are very, 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 very difficult to understand. We cannot ascertain. इसको ऐसा बॉडी क्यों मिला? इसने क्या कर्म किया होगा प्रभु? इसको ऐसा एनिमल का बॉडी मिला? Very, very difficult to ascertain. So, okay, we can just guess, but we cannot say exactly why and how. कर्मणो हि अपि बोधव्यं बोधव्यं च विकर्मण अकर्मणश्च बोधव्यं गहना कर्मणो गति. तो जब भी ऐसा आता है ना, कर्मा लॉज ऑफ कर्मा के बारे में क्वेश्चन आते हैं, सब लोग इस वर्स को कोट करते हैं, गहना कर्मणो गति. कर्मणा कर्म लॉज ऑफ कर्मा समझना बहुत गहरा है, समझना इम्पॉसिबल है. यस ब्रो, क्विकली रीड.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Purport. If one is serious about liberation from the material bondage, one has to understand the distinction between action, inaction, and unauthorized actions. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted actions because it is very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. That is, one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed toward this conclusion. Any other conclusion against this consciousness and its attendant action are vikarmas or prohibited action. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, one is the most intelligent person will be. Otherwise, even the most intelligent person will be bewildered.
So again, the same thing. That one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness. Then one will understand the secret. That when it is said, it is only Lord can explain and the great devotees can explain. So if one is very serious about material bondage, one should understand what is karma, what is akarma, what is Vishiddha karma, what is this. And it is a very difficult subject matter. One should learn from a great devotee. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed towards this conclusion that living entity is a servant of Krishna and he should engage in bhakti. This is called as akarma. This is called as spiritual life. So okay. So you can just remember this one word, gahana karmano gati. 24.17. जब भी आपको कंफ्यूजन आ जाए, कोई बोले लॉज ऑफ कर्मा कैसे काम करता है, तो इस श्लोक को याद करना. 4.17 गहना कर्मणो गति. Very difficult to understand. Okay, so I'll just pause here for any questions. If anyone has any questions or discussions, we can have some 5-10 minutes. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, bro.
Could we discuss the verse about action and inaction? You gave the example of previous acharyas, but how we can apply this verse for the exalted devotees like Jagannath Das Babaji and I am unable to understand. Surely they would be following, but how can I understand that?
Sorry, can you please explain the question little again once more?
You gave the examples of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj. In that verse only, in that context, surely the Babajis of our line like Jagannath Das Babaji and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji were following that verse, but how can I understand that?
Yeah, because now you see, also there is one shloka which mentions about following immediate authorities also. Immediate authorities means once upon a time, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he also had dadi mooch and he had long hairs. Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, your Guru Maharaj also had long hairs. And you had long hairs and they also used to do Chaturmas. And then he said, what is wrong? I am following the previous acharyas. Prabhupada said, who is your previous acharya? He said, I am the previous acharya. My hair, I don't have hairs. I don't have big hairs. I don't have mustache. But then devotee asked, Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, but I saw your photo. I saw your photo before sannyas. In your grasta ashram, you also had mooch. Why you are stopping me from mooch? You also had mooch. He said, I followed my previous acharya that time. That is Bhakti Shastri Thakur. He means, so you see here, we have to follow immediate authorities also. Prabhupada said, I am telling you right now, this is the action. And he said, that time I was not a proper devotee. He said, Arna, as soon as I got initiated, I gave up all those things. Srila Prabhupada says, as soon as I got initiated, before becoming devotee, that was understood differently. So now, the time, situation, circumstances are different. That's why there is also vital need of following the current authorities also. We cannot jump to Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, or I'm following Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami directly. We can follow them, but in line with our current authorities also, or the current. That's why parampara system is needed. Otherwise, our system will slowly also become like Ritvik system only. I'll get initiation from Rupa Goswami. I'll get initiation. So we have to also follow the local laws. Local laws means the current acharyas. So I don't know whether I understood your question. You wanted to say that we are following Gopal Krishna Maharaj and all this, but can't we follow Jagannath Babaji Maharaj, who had a Babaji mood,
However,
who had a bhajan
however,
mode only? Is this your question, bro?
Really, exactly like how did Jagannath Babaji and Gaurkishore Babaji perform acting in consciousness, like management action or like that?
Sorry, can you please again repeat, bro? I'm not able. The voice is not clear.
Actually, I wanted to say that how did the Jagannath Das Babaji and Gaurkishore Das Babaji perform direct action? Like they were chanting continuously, but how did they perform direct action, like management or whatever?
Actually, Prabhu, one thing is, that's why this Chaturvarna Maya system. So they are called as Paramhamsas. Those who are in this stage, they are called as Paramhamsas. But especially for the sake of preaching, even sometimes like Prabhupada is also Paramhamsa. And all these great devotees whom we are mentioning, they can also be referred to as Paramhamsa. But Srila Prabhupada says Paramhamsa cannot preach directly. If he especially organization running, management running, he said but one has to come to Madhyamadikari level. Uttam Adhikari will be very, means Uttam Adhikari who comes to a Madhyam Adhikari level intentionally. He expands the preaching. Otherwise, Paramahamsa, he has a very different attitude only. Paramahamsa thinks everyone is a pure devotee of Krishna. What is the need of preaching? So Paramahamsa will not discriminate only who is great, who is not. He's so this Babajis that time they are in the Paramahamsa mood. So now and actually now you see Parikshit Maharaj. परीक्षित महाराज ने क्या काम किया है सिर्फ सुना है क्या एक्टिविटी किया ये भी एक एक्टिविटी है सुनना भी एक एक्टिविटी है चैंटिंग भी एक एक्टिविटी है लेकिन अपना स्तर चाहिए ऐसा ये गलत नहीं है कि हमें सेवा मतलब फिजिकल सेवा ही होता है सुनना भी एक बहुत बड़ा सेवा है चैंटिंग करना भी एक बहुत बड़ा सेवा है क्योंकि उनको वो प्रिस्क्राइब किया गया था उनके आचार्यों द्वारा तब बाबा जी का था सब बाबा जी लोग थे बनते थे पहले सब बाबा जी वॉज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द हाईएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ रिनंसिएशन दैट वाज अ टाइम एंड कल्चर ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम but Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur introduced saffron. There was no concept of saffron in entire Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. Till the time Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur came. Before that, everyone used to be white only. There was no red and there was no yellow and there was no white. Everyone white. Because all were Babajis only. The saffron concept came after Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. And saffron concept was actually Mayavadi concept. Saffron concept is a Mayavadi concept. There is no a saffron concept in Vaishnava concept. Vaishnava means bhajan only. Bhajan and all. But Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur understood that people, if they try to become like this, he adopted this Mayavadi in the terms of okay, saffron law, and other sampradayas also accepted it. Ramanuchari accepted it, and their sampradaya, saffron dena, vagre. Kyun? Because that was considered to be prestigious that time. People will listen to such people, those who have that dress. Otherwise, they will not value a person who is simply wearing white only that time. That time. So that was a time this was accepted. So now your question again of how Jagannath Babaji Maharaj and they did not do management and they did not engage in any action. They simply chanted. Yeah, maybe that was the their previous authorities might have prescribed or they have followed their previous authorities. But our previous authorities are not prescribing this. So we do not that at least Srila Prabhupada was very, very again somebody going to Radha Kund and jump and chant Nirjan Bhajan there. भक्तिजन ठाकुर पूरा सॉन्ग ही लिखा है उसके ऊपर कौन सा सॉन्ग लिखा है दुष्टमान तुम्हें की सेरा वैष्णव पूरा सॉन्ग ही उसके ऊपर लिखा है ऐसे निर्जन भजन जो है ये पूरा ढोंग है। कलयुग में निर्जन भजन करना ढोंग है स्पेशली। तो पूरा सॉन्ग है उसके ऊपर लिखा है। सो डू नॉट रिटायर फ्रॉम कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, दैट वाज द थीम। ओके, एनी अदर थिंग प्रभु?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, can we say that the current acharyas, they know the mood of previous acharyas, and that's why they are able to apply the teachings of previous acharyas in the current time, place, circumstances. That's why we should follow immediate authority.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, correct. So Srila Prabhupada is also our, that's why we are Prabhupada Anugas, no? Even Prabhupada Anugas, because Prabhupada has modified the system in a very different manner. Giving Diksha, Brahman Diksha, even to Matajis, given Diksha to Westerners. Agar if you do not follow, then Westerners will never be given Diksha. They will never get all these things. So that's why we have to follow current Acharya. That's why Prabhupada books play the major role in our life. Means the most important things, whenever confusion, Prabhupada books, we have to take shelter. Acharya books are very good. We have to read, but we have to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada books. Because Prabhupada is our current Acharya, Vartaman Acharya, current Acharya. So Prabhupada books play the most important role in our life, above everything. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start. Tomorrow, kindly note, we'll have a revision in the beginning. So whatever points today were discussed, we'll have a quick recap of all those points, and then we'll start tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll complete in next 2 more classes. This chapter will get over. Hari Bol. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.